This presentation by Trenita Anderson and Keith Garner deals with organizational development, and specifically the development of the whole organization by focusing on individual components of an organization. Oftentimes, there are phrases that are used so heavily that they tend to lose meaning. Organizational development is one of these phrases.
What is organizational development? Organizational development is the theory and practice of planned, systematic change in the attitudes, beliefs, and values of the employees through the creation and reinforcement of long-term training programs. High potential employees. When considering an organization and its development, it is important to realize that short-term goals should not get in the way of long-term planning. Each organization has personnel that are considered HIPOs, which is short for high potential employees. High potential employees will one day fill the highest positions within an organization, and each organization should have a plan for development of these HIPOs. Using the potential power contained in high potential employees early in their career may have positive effects on the basic stages of organization development, which are planning, goal development, mentoring, and succession planning. These stages are implemented for the purpose of enabling an organization and its teams to better anticipate, respond, and adapt to various market, industry, or technical changes.
Processes are the way work is completed, and they can differ in each subsystem of an organization. A system is dependent on the people within it applying the correct processes in the correct way. Organizational culture is how an organization acts, either internally or externally. Culture is learned by the people of an organization, and they apply it to their work. Culture is also projected by the people of an organization, either between subsystems of the organization to other organizations or systems of other organizations that the core organization interacts with. People are the only commonality between systems and subsystems, as well as processes and culture. This picture of three wheels with cogs is a pretty simplistic representation of subsystems of an organization. So the three wheels together represent the organization as a whole. Each wheel individually represents a system or a subsystem within the whole, and each cog represents a person. So in many organizations, it's not uncommon for there to be subsystems that include shipping and receiving and invoicing and payroll and all these other systems that kind of become overlooked in time. But if one of these cogs does not fit well within the organization, it's going to cause the wheels to stop turning. Again, this is a pretty simplistic representation of it, but I'm sure there are countless examples of poorly fitting cogs and organizations throughout time, creating issues for an organization.
Succession planning. Succession planning is important because executive roles and the search to fill them can be time consuming and expensive. This process usually takes anywhere from 12 to 36 months of preparation for developing new leadership to replace the old ones when they leave, retire, or die. Succession planning also increases the availability of experienced and capable employees that are prepared to assume these roles as they become available is an important strategy. Lastly, succession planning provides great benefits for the employee as well. On the next slide, listed are the benefits of succession planning for the organization. Benefits of succession planning for the organization. Listed are the top 6 values of succession planning benefits for the organization. 1. Identifies and create competencies. 2. Ensure a full pipeline of talent. 3. Avoid talent holes. 4. Create better morale. 5. Reduces turnover. And 6. Increased bottom line engagement and productivity in the workforce.
This is a picture of the Detroit Red Wings immediately after winning the Stanley Cup in 2008. One of the interesting things about hockey, and NHL hockey in particular, is that unlike other sports, it is much faster paced with very few stops in play um, and with multiple systems within an organization. Also, besides the fact that the Detroit Red Wings are an organization, they're an organization within a larger organization, NHL, and the NHL itself is falls within the whole worldwide sport of hockey. So there are also minor league divisions and youth hockey divisions and college divisions and high school divisions. Goes all the way down. So on a hockey team, there are typically 4 lines, which each have their own culture. Each group of players on the line work together well, and that's why they're put on the line. Sometimes they're put on lines for specific purposes, such as to kill penalties or to engage in power plays, where they have an advantage over the competitor uh, to enhance their scoring capabilities. But there's no real one star in a NHL organization. There are stars within an NHL organization, but there's nobody like a quarterback for for an NFL team, or a LeBron James, or a Michael Jordan for an NBA team. There are stars, but they're not built. NHL teams aren't built around those stars. So when you look at a NHL or hockey team, in a lot of ways they're more consistent with business organizations and the way they're set up with stakeholders and systems within the overall system, and then the way that culture interacts with other cultures and the organization as a whole. So when you look at this slide, you see the culmination of really a lot of times began at the age of 3 or 4 or 5 years old, where young hockey players are taught the skills, the core skills that are needed to play hockey, such as skating on ice, handling a stick, and the eye-hand coordination that goes with all the things that hockey players do. So these 2 slides, the culmination of all that training in the Stanley Cup, and this slide of a little toddler learning how to do it, is very compatible with the concept of organizational development.
It's never too soon to start developing your stars.